How an emoji fueled widespread sexism debate in South Korea. The representative images that have caused controversy are variations of the emoji depicting hands where the thumbs and the index finger pinch towards each other. In South Korea, this symbol is usually used to depict a smaller size. This May, South Korean companies and organizations began pulling down advertisement, promotional campaignings, and other online content after a wave of complaints by men's rights organizations claiming offensive small penis symbols and representative images were being used in these advertisements. The conversation surrounding this issue is the latest flare up in a long standing battle over gender rights in South Korea between men's and women's rights groups. So, what is the controversy about? The representative images that have caused controversy are variations of the emoji, depicting hands where the thumbs and the index finger pinch towards each other. In South Korea, this symbol is usually used to depict a smaller size, but in the country, another association added fuel to the fire. The symbol was used by Meghallian, a now defunct local feminist group, as their logo, a Reuters report said. This year, when South Korea's largest convenience store chain, GS25, began advertising sausages, it used an illustration of what some men's rights group interpreted as the small penis symbol. It led to small group of protesters from the men's rights organization, Man on Solidarity, to protest outside the firm's headquarters in Seoul. The company later withdrew its advertisement. These groups then began criticizing other companies and institutions for causing offense by purportedly using this symbol in their campaignings and advertisements, calling for their withdrawal. Among them was fried chicken chain Cochin, one of the largest fried chicken chain restaurants in the country, which was forced to delete social media posts with advertisements featuring this symbol. Institutions like Kakao Bank Corp and Seoul Metropolitan Police also removed the offending hand and modified their advertisement and road safety campaigning posters with Seoul police saying that they didn't want any misunderstandings. Are they really that offensive? The controversy has generated a lot of conversation on social media platform, with many saying that men's rights groups are finding controversy where there is none. One Seoul-based journalist pointed out how South Korean football club Seoul E-Land FC was forced to apologize for misandry because an advertisement included this hand symbol. But when looking at the original poster, one would be hard-pressed to identify exactly where the symbol is located. It turned out that to search for this symbol would be similar to participating in a round of Where's Wally. If one zooms in, the purportedly hand gesture is being made by a woman character holding her phone. Another advertisement for cup noodles in South Korea faced similar criticism because it featured a pair of chopsticks being used to pick up noodles. The complaint was the fingers took on the shape of the hand gesture that had offended some men's rights groups. Is there more to this controversy? A Reuters report quoted Kim Caro, director of the Women's Policy Division at the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family, explaining how the problems of misogyny and misandry are not new in South Korea, but this targeting of companies and individuals have been a recent development. In 2017, when Moon Jae-in became president, he had promised to focus on gender equality. Since then, there have been some improvements for women in the country, for instance, in wages and introduction of eligibility for bigger government subsidies than men when starting a new business. However, critics say that more needs to be done. This coincided with a growing lack of employment opportunities for men, whose discontent with their socio-economic status has only increased. Researchers have noticed an increase in anti-feminist sentiments among men in their 20s and 30s, an issue that was resulted in significant conversation among South Koreans and its impact on various aspects of everyday life. The rise in feminism and open conversation about it have met with fierce criticism and resistance from men in the country. Women's rights activists say feminism in the country had been simmering under the surface, but it became more prominent sometimes in 2015 following the outbreak of Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, or MERS, in the country, linked to a Korean man returning from Middle East. Soon after, 2 Korean women have contracted the disease while traveling on a flight from Seoul to Hong Kong to refused to quarantine. This resulted in a wave of criticism and abuse online, accusing the women of damaging South Korea's reputation. A Korean Bang report mentions how the women were called kimchi bitches Women who are obsessed with wealth, who in turn attack men with the phrase kimchi men and mock them for their 6.9 centimeter penises. So, when the radical online feminist group Megalia was born in 2015, they created a logo to show a hand with the thumb and index finger close together to suggest a small penis in what was considered a deliberate move. Because of this association of the symbol with the feminist group that men believe propagated extreme feminist views, the symbol has perhaps generated more controversy than may be justifiable. Researchers say that in South Korea there have been a rise in crimes against women and innate partner violence. Conversations among women on online platforms discussing fears of being stalked, harassed physically and verbally abused, or being secretly filmed by a former partner or even a stranger in public bathrooms, as well as being victims of revenge porn. Thank you.